Yesterday, we talked about the SEC in basketball. Today, it's the ACC. Here in studio with analyst Jordan Cornette. Also, Chris Spatola, our Duke insider, joins us as well. And Chris, a big game here coming up for the Blue Devils on Thursday at Madison Square Garden when they face UCLA. How important is this game for Duke?
Well, it's going to be big for Duke. You know, their defense is going to be tested. UCLA, the second leading scoring team in the nation at 89 a game. And it starts for UCLA with Jordan Adams, who's averaging 21 a game. He's an elite scorer. I talked to the Duke staff about stopping him. They're going to want to stay connected to him in the half court, make it hard for him to catch. They're going to want to make him a contested two-point shooter. But here's the big key. They do not want to bail him out and put him at the foul line. They want to make him earn it from the floor. When you put an elite scorer like Jordan Adams at that foul line, that can lead to a big game. So keeping him off the foul line going to be big. Duke's defense will definitely be tested against UCLA.
Speaking of elite, I think we all know Duke is an elite program in every sense, so it's surprising to see they're ranked 229th nationally in scoring defense. Chris, where have you seen them struggle on the defensive end of the floor?
Well, and teams are shooting 51% from two-point land on them. You know, the two obvious things, they've had trouble containing the dribble. They haven't defensive rebounded. But the big thing is their IQ, their instincts for defense, not quite what Duke has been in the past. Their ability to bring secondary defenders, their help side not as strong. And when you don't have a lot of size, when you have trouble guarding off the dribble, if you're not bringing that rotation, that's where you can struggle. And that's where Duke's finding themselves defensively this year.
Yeah, Chris, I mean, you look at the video right there, these guards getting beat off the dribble, and what's the great eraser of a mistake when you allow the defense or the offense to get by you? You need a shot blocker. That lack of size, they don't have anybody to block shots down low. Chris, to be honest, man, I just want to see the Duke of old get out there, slapping the floor, some intensity. They're not very vocal defensively, so that means they're not playing that team defense. I think you make a good point about the knack for defensive movement, not really there right now, and I just think you're not going to erase those mistakes when you have length like Jefferson or Jabari Parker down low.
After a rocky start that included losses to Belmont and to UAB, we've seen North Carolina really improve here lately. They've won 4 straight, including victories over number 1 Michigan State, number 11 Kentucky. So, Jordan, what have we seen from North Carolina here recently that we weren't seeing earlier in the season?
Well, Ray, I think it's simple. They're finally discovering an identity, this basketball team. They're not the best three-point shooting team in the land. Heck, they can't shoot the three ball at all. Marcus Page has been brilliant, but what really has become the theme moving forward, and can this UNC team gain momentum, is the emergence of James Michael McAdoo. Coming into the season, everybody thought this would be the guy to carry the team with Hairston and McDonald out. Well, he's been underwhelming. 20 points in that last outing against Kentucky, propelling them to that win. If this guy can become a viable second scorer or third scorer behind Bryce Johnson, I think Carolina can go far. And obviously when McDonald and Hairston come back, watch out.
Chris? Yeah, Jordan, I think you make a great point. I mean, let's understand, 6 of North Carolina's top 7 producers are freshmen and sophomores. And James Michael McAdoo is the one lone junior in that group. Look, they can't shoot real well. Their 2 best shooters, Leslie McDonald and P.J. Hairston, suspended, as you said, Jordan. Marcus Page has come up huge. But in those 3 games leading up to their game against Kentucky, James Michael McAdoo, averaging in the single digits, came up big for them with 20. If they can get Page and Michael McAdoo to be consistent, then that inside depth really can help them.
All right, Chris, you're a coach first and a guard prior to that. Free throw shooting, what does that do to this basketball team as well? I mean, they're terrible from the free throw line.
They're really bad. And in games they've lost to Belmont and UAB, they've struggled from that foul line. And part of a team, you mentioned the size inside. Part of that, you know, you get those offensive rebounds, you throw it inside. If you're not going to be able to finish, you're going to get fouled. You've got to be able to get those points at that foul line.
A team that has it going right now is Syracuse. They are second in the polls. They're the cream of the crop right now in the ACC. Chris, what have you seen from them that has impressed you in this 10-0 start for the Orange?
Well, Ray, to start the year, I felt like Syracuse was going to be the best team in the ACC because I felt like they had the fewest question marks. The only question mark they had was they had a freshman point guard, and Tyler Ennis has answered all those questions. He's averaging 12 a game for them, but here's the key. His assist-to-turnover ratio is 5-1. So he's really controlled the tempo. He's gotten guys like C.J. Fair involved. He has answered that question of a freshman point guard.
Well, you got a great point guard, absolutely, Chris, but you also need a go-to guy, an established guy who's been there. Tyler Ennis, only a freshman. You mentioned C.J. Fair. This guy, I think, has been the difference. Started as a role player in his first 2 seasons. That third year became a third or fourth scoring option. And boom, he's thrust right into being the go-to guy. He's answered the call alongside Tyler Ennis. This guy has really shined and led this basketball team. Now, Who else is going to give them a punch? Down low, I think Christmas or DeJuan Coleman has to do a better job scoring. You always have that defensive side of things. That 2-3 matchup zone has been a monster as they rank in top 10 in turning teams over and getting steals per game. But offensively, I'd like to see them establish a low post game. That could really thrust them to that number 1 spot, I believe.
Oh, making an exciting ACC season with Syracuse, North Carolina, Duke, all kind of ramping up their seasons. All right, Jordan, thanks very much.